Welcome back, everyone. We are all knotted up in this series 1-1 as we get ready for Split. I'm Golden Boy along with Mimi and Ender. And, well, folks, Aspas did the thing again.
The Aspas thing.
He's very good at the video game. Don't know if we told you that one before. But here's the thing. Robbed of his 30.
But
it's
still,
29.
he single-handedly brought this game back.
Really
Let's
did.
be honest, because KRU started off cooking. They won a couple rounds to get started off that pistol, and then towards the end of that first half, Aspas absolutely came online with the operator. The ace round with the Blade Storm,
wild.
him heating up was the turning point for MIBR.
Yeah, he sort of had these 3 rounds in a row that he single-handedly won, and after that, I just don't think KRU ever really regained their composure in the server. Because again, they had some good rounds at the start. I think their A main hits were working, just like they were working up against their match against NRG. But truthfully, this is the round where it all started slipping away.
This map to me was the initial offering of what MIBR was kind of coming to fruition, right? You looked at this team in the offseason and you thought, Aspas, best duelist player in the world. One of, but probably the best duelist player in the world.
Don't even pull back.
Don't mitigate.
I feel like after that we can just
go
flat out.
Yeah, the best player in Valorant, alongside a team of new guys. And then you have Cortesia, this super exciting rookie coming up from Tier 2 who absolutely cooked in the offseason. And he was kind of rough his first map. He was solid in the lower bracket. But this game, he really rose up. And this was him and Aspas just putting on a show of insane mechanics to win out of bits against KRU.
Yeah, it was a combination of a lot of these really high impact frags Cortesia was finding on those mid lurks, and then Aspas 3Ks, 4Ks, 5Ks, just doing everything.
Yeah,
I got bored of it after a while because it was just okay, it's just
there
more
he
of
is.
Aspas being better
Aspas
than
got
everyone.
an ace, huh?
Yeah, whatever.
Credit to Cortesia, though. He did a really great job of finding these timings on their attacking side up mid. I think the team also did a really good job setting him up, applying the pressure, letting him get into these late lurking positions, and that duo just stealing the show, really.
Now, folks, this is it. We're down to just the final map. The stakes couldn't be any higher for both of these teams here. You win, you move on to this competition, get a date with Sentinels tomorrow, but if you lose, your kickoff run ends here. No Masters Bangkok for you. A lot on the line for both of these teams. For KRU, an opportunity to go to a Masters. They haven't done that since Copenhagen. For MIBR, as an organization, a massive achievement. And imagine how the feather in the cap that Aspas would have taking MIBR.
Right? They're kind
play.
of two sides there.
Yeah.
MIBR has been pretty much the worst organization 2 years running in terms of performance in Americas, and Aspas has been on the best teams. And to show him coming into this MIBR team and having a complete turnaround, to be in the top 3, to have a chance to go even deeper, I think it would really prove to me that he is the ultimate kingmaker that can single-handedly turn a team around.
Every single team that this guy touches just turns to gold.
Yeah.
Seemingly
At this point, you
overnight.
can't argue with the results, right?
It's shocking, and I don't know, to see so early on that it's working with MIBR. We'll see though, because again, one map can change your story so quickly,
Very true.
right? Think back to a Sentinels last year. They lose versus G2. They might not even make it to Madrid to win it all. A Sentinels or a KRU and MIBR here. One map, and we never get to see that chance.
And for KRU, they've always been the team of late season revivals at the end of the year, coming out, barely making champions.
This is a new look for them, right?
This is new, right? KRU's always been a top team in Americas, right? Towards the end of the year. But starting strong like this would be such a statement for them, and being able to close out this series would be a great step in that direction for these guys. It's been 3 years since they made a Masters. I know it would feel damn good to be back together with some of their earliest teammates in Valorant, getting to do that in 2025.
Now, let's set the stage, though, for what we can expect going into map 3, because it's split.
Yes.
And I'm excited because that means we might get Artson on the race.
We are
getting
him on the race, right? And this is actually a map where he can outfrag Aspas. We saw that in the last time they won this map going into overtime with a really powerful second half coming on through. So this is a map where I think especially KRU's defense is going to be tested. I think KRU's defense has been their strong point, but now they're contesting against a double dive comp. We saw that not work out so great for MIBR on Bind. but on Split, this is a comp
Very different situation.
very skilled at, and Artzin is frying on the Rays with.
But when we saw this comp come out for one of the first times, it was a surprise to see a team returning to a double dive look in 2025. But now KRU knows this is coming. This is a comp they have not only played against a ton, but played themselves a ton in the past. So I imagine Adam has put a lot of work, knowing the Split would show up, into how to counter out this double duelist competition. So I think, or this composition, excuse me. So I think MIBR is really going to have to dig deep in this game.
Yeah, for sure. I think things that MIBR are going to be looking to do that KRU have to be watching out for are there's like pinches, whether it's, you know, double duelist diving in towards A Heaven, one up from ramp, the Rays going over towards Raptors, or pinches into vents too, right? A lot of the time if you have a mid anchor, Viper, Smokes, whatever, trying to sit out in mid, teams with this Rays jet will just send flying on you trying to catch a timing where you've got the util in hands to try and punish.
All right, well, map 3 is on the way, and this is it. Winner moves on, loser goes home. Let's send it back over to your casters. But first, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
All right, let's get to it then. Map number 3 on the line between these two teams, man. Wouldn't happen any other way as well. And this is for all the marbles. I mean, the desk has been teeing up. It's elimination, of course. We've been talking about that. But to have that chance of a ticket to Bangkok, to have a chance to make an international event, it could end here.
Yeah, I mean, they were bringing up that the last time KRU qualified to a Masters event was at Copenhagen, if you can cast your memory back all the way then. Now, that was also the last time that Kesnit was able to beat Aspas, if you recall, all the way back to that time. So is there something in the water, perhaps? They would have to do a great job here, honestly, KRU. We've seen both of these teams play a couple times before on Split this season, but personally, I'm loving what I see from Aspas and Artzin. I think that's going to be very tough for KRU to stop. And so this opening half is the one I'm most interested in. Can Shai and Adverso, the anchors, the defensive players from KRU, shut down the double dive when Artzin, while IGLing, by the way, has looked so marvelous on the attack Rays?
Big questions. And honestly, I'm hoping for that carnage, a clash between these players.
Kesnit didn't quite have the same level of explosive impact you'd hope for from a Jet on Abyss. And I think he'll be bringing it here on Rays. He's always good for the big Rays performances on maps like this. And he's been, the past 2 times we've seen them play, he's been pretty confident. He's been running it down.
Yeah, he definitely has. Well, here we go. Slow, steady to begin, but not quite through mid. That's Artzin leading the charge. Trailblazer inside the smoke. There will be no safety can be granted to you. Kesnit's Boombot getting into the action, getting into the fray, and a few tap straight bullets, anticipating the angles.
Ridiculous.
Kesnit just walked straight into it. Shai getting active, getting cheeky, flooding through, in through the bottom section. Not enough to stop this MIBR train rolling.
Well, that was a fast round. Hold on to your seats, because I think the rest of this half is going to be pretty similar. MIBR like to take it quick. And KRU, they had an anti-strat there. Inside the smoke, paranoia in the face. How Artzin still managed to get a kill out of that? I have no, I mean, look at this.
Yeah.
He's stunned by his own team's Trailblazer. And yet, in the midst of both players being stunned, the frenzy, I guess, just with the bit better fire rate comes out on top.
I mean, that's a... Look at the disgust on the face of Shai there. Definitely trying to do the most here, but okay, once more. No slowing down with the opening beginnings.
No, and MIBR were doing a lot of this kind of defaulting, taking a ramp at the beginning of the round, resetting. They can go back into an A hit, or they can look to reinforce the mid lurk. Now, you are worried about a stack here if you're thinking from Artzin's IGLing perspective, and that's where you'll normally see Cortesia or Nozwa going first, because they're the players with just the pistol. Instead, it's both of the duelists just looking to power their way into A Heaven.
Yep, shoulder peeking out gives the acknowledgement. Don't worry. potentially about these players here. Will anybody else be coming out of the woodwork to try and help this one out? Aspas dash forwards and good awareness. Just knows that he has to clear that spot. Not quite accounted for yet with the hit that's coming through onto this side, and this is just no remorse gameplay.
Yeah, they're running them down. I mean, there are spots where I think a lot of teams would be cautious to dash the Phantom into the A site. Aspas is like, no, I'm just better. I'll just do that. I'll just do that.
I'll simply win the fights.
So Mel's is left alone. He was the sole player left to guard B. And he witnessed his brethren fall across the map. MIBR, with no losses, are going to be able to get a really nice bonus buy. Adverso arguably shouldn't be taking that fight too early on, because then he can play in Shai and play in Mazzino.
That's what I was wondering, if it was going to be the re-swing from anybody else that was playing around there, but it's awkward positions.
And it might be awkward timings and tempo for KRU to get a handle on. They need to get mentally in the right frame of mind to deal with the pace that MIBR are going to showcase.
Once more, looking like a bit of a B split. No util being thrown out at the beginning of this, though. Happy to walk up behind the wall.
Very cautious beginning, isn't it, from MIBR? A large tempo shift. Flash comes out over towards A ramp, and so you're fairly confident Cortesia is not over in that direction, though he could have been hiding in his Viper Orb.
Verso might be in a bit spot above her, no, not quite. Had some help with the rest of his team, even this reposition, though. Could be risky, still accounting for the angle. Orb up to replace it. Noswer. Oh my. Gets the one, gets out.
Oh,
he had the spike.
He needed to escape there. He had the spike on his back. KRU could have won the round straight up if Mazzino had found that pick. But KRU looking great on this one. Adverso may have made the play to win the round already. They're in a 4v3.
Chance of a timing here, because the dog didn't quite spot it. Up to MIBR to see if they can grasp it, though.
30 seconds left.
But
Noswer still has double flashes.
Okay. Final one for Mazzino. Used, though, and that's going to get that acknowledgement that this player's up through mid. Big setup. Shai going to be trying to anchor this A spot. He's got the cam up and over as well, so he spots them out with only 13 seconds left to play with. It's inevitable at this point. You can call for the rotations coming in, but Shai needs some help, and he needs it now. How much can this setup really do? Beautiful with a dodge and a flash as well, but that's a spike out committed, and if you had a dream of trying to win this one out, it's dusted.
That's a sick play from Shai. He turns that flash beautifully. MIBR a little indecisive. It was their bonus. Just looking to try to do some damage, I think. See if the KRU players were going to get baited into anything. And they have some level of an idea of what the Cypher setup looked like. Shai actually doing a pretty similar one. Noswer was going for a lot of these solo flash plays on Bind and getting heavily punished for it.
No bonus conversion, though. Not here and now, so KRU. A little bit of pressure being let off them.
So not the fast A ramp default from MIBR, but a bit more of a slow look. The Viper setup from Cortesia allows them to deny information and work players up there, but are they going to actually take the space?
Posturing for now. They pulled out a bit of the util that does get broken, but spells it out. For KRU, got to be aware that you're losing control over towards main and ramp. Flash as well for that extra piece of acknowledgement.
But they're not actually rotating anybody to A.
No. Creeping up through mid, spotting the players.
A nice idea there. If there was somebody playing in vents, if Adverso had been in that spot, probably would have been caught, as Mazzino is.
Yep.
Wall goes down and had no escape.
Curtain drops, fade to black, and what is going to be the call here for MIBR? Now the spike is in spawn, by the way.
Yeah, this is really weird.
This is all over the place, man.
You don't really have too much time to even... Where are
30
they
seconds, you've been paused, you've been stunted, up through mid. What is the call to be made? Catching onto the angles. He's still in control of this one, but okay, tracking out of the sky. Plucking a few of these players out of the picture. Verso trying to account for that swing. Trying to meet their match tempo for tempo. And Noswer left with no chance, no choice, but now he's going to stick that plant down. Gets a renewal. Couple more seconds to play with, and Shai left to do it all in a 1v2. Doubled up by these MIBR players. Elsewhere, Cortesia, shoulder to shoulder. Holding any of the potential repositions, and it's a difficult one for Shai. Might have a chance to maybe isolate the one. Majority of sight not even clear, but Shai hears the footsteps now and knows at least there's going to be one player towards CT, but the wick is burning, running out! It matters not!
Noswa just misses the flash because Shai ISOs it, and he still had 3.5 seconds to play that.
I mean, my jaw is on the floor with that. That is ridiculous.
I mean, we know that Shai is good, but how's he won that one? He had no information about where these players were playing up until the final kind of 5 seconds of the round. What a reset!
No chance at all.
Oh, what a beautiful angle. Even Atom can't believe that one. He's just done it all, and so calm. He's looking at the crowd like, what? That's just a normal day.
Back to the fast tempo plays by MIBR. The slow play, I mean, dwindling down their options. Clock is one of their worst enemies. This time, increase up the heat. Aspas in through the back of the side. He's got that Trailblazer, but Shai has maneuvered. He's weaved his way back and around. He's going to be using that damage scene to get themselves in. Aspas! Where's he found that? 2 knives straight to the head. That's surgical precision. Calling for the pause here. Wait for the smokes to come back up. Now you can reposition and go for that plan, but honestly, this is called. Yeah. It looks like
I'm not sure. They might have been thinking it was a pivot. See what they do? Yeah, they're just staying up in B heaven.
At this point.
Wow. What a way to use Aspas. Think about what he did there. He updrafted, dashed into the site with an Astra stun towards the back. So he is entrying, but he's not breaking trips. He's not actually allowing his team to get in through the choke that easily. But when all of the attention then from KRU is focused on the players in A main, Aspas swings back out from the backside of B and collects 2. One onto the player trying to anchor, and then one onto the player trying to flood in heaven. We'll potentially see it in the replay, but it's a really nice way of having a player that isn't always just going to be hunting for the kills to allow the game to come to him and still have enormous impact.
That's Aspas at his core, really. It's a percentage player.
Yeah, take a look at this one. I mean, that's ridiculous from Noswa, but here you see him just in a position that you would almost associate with site anchoring itself.
Yeah.
Helping his teammates get in, not by causing a distraction, but by baiting them to get all of those kills. And I'm not mad about it at all. A 1.38 KPR is ludicrous.
Yeah.
I mean, the best players ever are getting like an average of 0.9 or something.
Cements how truly different this guy is. Flashes are exchanged, a bit of a handshake occurring up towards A ramp, and slower pace as well is called for, because with the weapon in the hands of Aspas, one bullet through the wall, the second one through the chest, that'll do the job.
Adverso's looking to try to take a fight in mid. That's a 140.
Yep. Backing away.
Aspas determined not to burn his dash as well. He has such incredible discipline on when to pop that dash. Still available for them to get through choke points.
No wasted moments.
And part of the MIBR game plan is to do these squeezes through mid and A ramp so that you can't really play vent against them. Here again, Artesine has gone through mid. Mazzino's not going to expect it.
Yeah, Mazzino's just making all the noise in the world, so Artesine was happy. Take him out of the fight. Shai cuts up, beneficial angle, but okay, he's been supplemented, helped out by Kesner with that rifle in hand, picked up the upgrade inside of the cage, reveals a lot, dashing away, Aspas clean enough with the movement, Pixel to the angle being held, and the spam through the wall, unfortunately, not enough to stand his ground against most of that one. Adverso! Quick peek, but almost as quick as that, he's going to be dropped down.
And there you see the dynamic that you get on split between Artesine and Aspas. Artesine can become the hard entry in a round like that where Aspas has Outlaw. And it just puts Aspas in such a comfortable position, trading out his teammates.
Yeah.
KRU have got some problems here. it's tough for them to be able to get the same value anchoring. You got to deal with two huge threats on the side of MIBR. And also, MIBR's defaulting is putting a lot of pressure onto the way that Adverso would like to hold mid. Vipers, when you're holding on split, they're going to want to put that orb down in the middle, and they're going to try to make their positioning flexible. So when the orb goes up, you don't know if they're in mail or if they're in vent.
Repositioning.
Yeah.
Hear a bit of util, you can lay a snake bite down, but
the way that MIBR are taking a ramp control makes vent really tough to play inside of. It might be the case that they want Shai to put a trip at the top of a ramp, just so that Adverso knows the A ramp pinch into mid is safe. We'll see what kind of adjustment Atom goes for coming out of this timeout. But this should be the favored half for MIBR. KRU can keep the mental straight, knowing that they don't need to rack up a ton of rounds this half. They just have to hold on, keep their head above water.
It'll be a difficult ask for them in this round at least, though. Trying to come up with a game plan, how you're going to counteract what KRU are doing, which is, like you said, it's the fast ramp take, which just makes it so uncomfortable for Adverso to play around. It looks like they are putting more of a presence there, but I was going to say, if Artisan is the one taking it, he has a showstopper to take the fight. He's not. He's on the other side of the map.
He's actually boombotting early towards B, which makes it feel like a B-leaning default. You see immediately Shai and Adverso start moving over towards B. Everyone's moving over towards B. The hard read on that boombot.
Because why would the Raze be alone?
And the Artesina's IGL has sold this really nicely. He's created a weakness on A.
Scout destroyed.
Only the Viper
Cortesia.
spotted. Yep. As you were about to mention, it's big information.
They've missed the timing a little, though, to commit to an A exec.
I
So
do worry.
instead, spread back out.
Yeah, because time has been an issue for MIBR when they try and slow down with this composition.
And yet they have been able to brute force through those moments.
Trip broken.
What a pit.
Yeah, pit to stunt any potential push up through B.
They're still worried about A heaven because Mazzino's flash was, I don't think, perfect there.
39 seconds. They haven't broken any of this util though. Shai with the one way. It's a nade, so he's forced to reposition here, and with that ult on top of it, no way! My God, man, Shai trying to get back straight into the action once more. It's to supplement his team's defense. Tucks himself into the corner. Awareness off the charts for Aspas. Maybe just hearing tap of the footsteps, but nobody holding heaven for him. So caught the bullet to the side of the head, but luckily Nozware there. Able to trade this one out. Melzer left now into that 1v2. Might be able to catch that reposition, not quite.
And Nozware comes up with the goods. Yeah, he allowed Aspas to die. Not holding heaven the first time, but instant on the trade and shuts down Melzer before Melzer can come out with any of the clutch magic that we've seen from him in other days in this tournament. KRU lose a devastatingly important round there. Trip actually caught onto Artzine, but the teammates are breaking it instantly, allowing him to still surge forwards with that showstopper.
We're done here.
And Fraud's happy about that one.
Yeah, it's a big round. Right back into round 8. Slower beginning again, so not too much action is going to be missed.
And I think Artesine is actually doing a great job with his IGLing, trying to mix things up. We saw the boombot at the start of the previous round that pulled all of the defense.
Yeah.
But I'm watching Kesnit in a lot of these rounds just ping-pong from B heaven to A heaven, trying to put himself in the right place.
Yeah.
And he's kind of getting it, but they haven't had a great read.
Refight called.
Oh, he's so lucky.
Artesine just slipped his way through there, man. Ridiculous stuff. One steps forward past the wall.
He goes forward again.
We'll be going down. This is where issues lie. Again, listen, it hasn't bit MIBR too badly. Easier. Oh, that's a Bucky. That's a Bucky. That's a Bucky. Still, he's got to round it. A little bit worse for the wear, but still with his life to play with, and now just calling for the rotation. So that snakebite did not connect, it did not catch the drop down. Going forward versus right there into the corner, and Kesnit, meanwhile, taking names in other areas of the map. That was up through heaven. Immediately going to take that reposition. And Shaynam, do you anticipate this? This is just ridiculous, man! Shai, he's been so consistent, but couldn't quite hit that one.
Can Kesnet and Adverso get rifles? I don't think so. They're prioritizing speed. Kesnet's got one blast pack.
Yeah. Not too much in terms of weaponry. It's a safer plan. Up to the corner. 11 bullets left. Jumping through and away. Kesnet can't get that done once more. Nozwa has to be the player with safe hands. Delivers it once more.
And that's 2 rounds in a row that Nozwa has come up good for the team. He's 8-2. What a recovery from a horrendous beginning to this series. On Bind getting caught out constantly, warmed up a bit on Abyss, and now he's delivering really important moments. When things are getting sloppy and scrappy, he's there to pick things up. Because Kesnet can absolutely hit those.
And also was low there too, 29 health.
KRU need this one. They absolutely need this one. They're down 6-2. They just need to keep their heads above water in this defense half. Adverso would love to play around this orb.
The unbreakable trip, though, if they walked up to it and pre-fired it, they'd spot him there. So I think he realized that and had to reposition.
And you see KRU, the adjustment that they've made is to fight much more heavily over A main, so Adverso's back is kept safe.
Trying to give a bit of that peace of mind and attack side with the operator, Aspas. He heard the jump spot, I believe.
Yep.
And here's a swing and a fight, an attempt of it at least from KRU. Almost lucky to be alive, but pixel angle. Backing away here, 50 seconds left to play within the round.
Scout destroyed.
Trailblazer, an attempt to break it. Flash getting that recognition now up towards A ramp. Worried about mid control though. KRU have got their backs to multiple of these angles, and the pack of MIBR, these players are now going to start to swiftly be swarming over towards A. The nades ricocheting out as in double satchel! Shorty in hand! And he's made mincemeat up towards the top of the rafters. A lot to do for Melzer, but just too much to watch for. Angles broken up, tossing and turning. Satchel is nice, but Kesnet taken down and brought down anyway. Picks up the operator out into the open. Where is the spike this entire time happening? 10 seconds left. You're going to cross into the open. Mistakes. A potential chance for Shai. Almost crossing it. And hopping around the corner. 4 seconds. You've got to stick this one. Cortesia knows it. And so does Shai. Leaving it into the 1v1. Chances on chances. Barely a shoulder. But Shai, once more, been so damn consistent in the clutch.
The anchor, the pillar that KRU can rely on whenever needed. Defense side, Shai is there for them. Red Bull clutch comes through. Artesine, how has he got that entry? It's absolutely absurd, and Aspas was cycling between the Phantom and the operator to try to make it happen. Another scrappy and chaotic round,
mate, they left
but this time Shai gets on top.
He did. I don't want to downplay it. That's what it takes for KRU to get themselves back in. They're going to take it.
I mean, but I'm worried about Aspas here. We saw what he did with the Blade Storm.
Might be making another go of things. Fast. Ramp take. Lines up and around. That's a dash active early. Heaven is open. Wants to try and take it to them. That is precise. Locking on. Heads will fall. One left to do. And picks up the gun in the process. Still, smoke dissipating as teams cleaning up behind him, and now a quick maneuver and a pivot out through mid and away.
It's a joy watching this guy. He's outrageous. Got his team into a 3v2 with an open B site as well. The call to pivot, masterful. KRU are going to need another huge round from Shai or Melzer.
And how often can you ask it of these guys over and over and over again? Neural theft. Players tacked up into the top section of B Heaven, revealing it, but dropping down. Trying to put a bit of confusion into the play. This is rapid, though. Early fight to be taken. Positions are a little bit awkward. Out into the open, only 4 bullets left. Aspas forced to reposition, but not accounting. Bashanian just up top, and not enough life to survive that. It's an onslaught of bullets, and a 7th round for MIBR.
When you think about Aspas on the attack side, you're picturing moments like this. It's so similar to round, I think it was 8 on Abyss, where he's going for the retake and flying up in the air, destroying everybody with the Blade Storm. But here, he just navigates with his movement and his fight isolation so well. It was like he was invisible as well. The rest of KRU just couldn't pay attention to him in the midst of all of that. And he's done it. He's given them another outrageous round to knock KRU's economy and take 7.
It's genuinely unbelievable at times. And the fast ramp takes, they have not failed MIBR so far. Any answer from KRU?
Well, they're going for something different this time, right? Taking mid, going for a bit of a flank retake attempt, perhaps?
You know, the Trailblazers going to be living up to the namesake. They know it's an open site. They've given up full heaven control and ramp control. They put the squeeze down. If Shannon goes down, retake could be possible. Still, the pit's going to be another problem to deal with still. Shannon just can't quite survive that. Too many bodies just to account for. Picks up that gun and now getting a rapid takeaway. KRU trying to go for this retake straight back into the mix. That's not the gun of choice to be taken against Aspas still. Tucks himself into the corner and weaving in and out. Just spells doom out, man. This is MIBR that are running away with this first half.
Last round in the half.
This should be the half where they're favored. MIBR with double duelists, and Aspas is 16-6. Norswer as well has been picking up amazing kills at various times throughout this map, but KRU need another.
Yeah.
They need it. MIBR even took the pistol in this half as well. KRU need every chance they can to be able to pull this back once Kesnit can get the entries. And so far, despite what Shai has been able to put together, KRU are struggling. This is their chance at Bangkok slipping away from them.
That's what these teams are playing for. Just a chance at this point. There's one more match to play even before this one, but you don't want to go out at this point. So close to that potential finish line. And here's an answer. There's a flash into the face of a few of these players. Mazzino squares up, takes the fight. He's one of them, but does he want to try and take the second? And these players almost lining up. Adverso is doing good work out towards mid.
The tactical adjustment from KRU pays off here. That fight over towards A main, it works, and Adverso also able to pick up 2. So Atom's done what he can in terms of adjusting their defensive setup. Now they've just got to close out the 4v2.
Fourth round for KRU. Makes it more feasible. Pistol round, you're practically back into it. Wall dropping down, gives that timing. Double faced up. Spike in the open. Shannon's got a lot to do. Double face. Good discipline towards the end. So 4 rounds earned for KRU.
I think they're going to need a pistol coming out the back of this as well. KRU have been good for them. Kesnit's normally remarkable in these kind of spots, but they need a strat, a pistol round, and a really explosive attack half. Because I said they needed to keep their heads above water. They are barely treading water in this map. So close to drowning.
Exactly right. That pistol round is going to be vitally important on the second half of Split. It's map 3. We're going the distance, and I cannot wait to see how this all ends up. Listen, early days in the 2025 season, but for these teams, this is all that matters, the here and now. Because, as we've been mentioning, it's elimination, and your chance of going to Bangkok to represent your region on that big global stage where the best of the best really just culminate and potentially grab a title. Listen, it could all end here, dashed to ashes.
KRU are down 4-8. They need this pistol round. By the look of it, it's going to be some kind of B exec. And MIBR are already one step ahead of them. They're playing a retake A setup with Aspas on the Sheriff. And to get through here, you have to get through like a pull or a stun, and then there's also a raise nade. It looks set up for MIBR to be able to defend. Kesnit is going to have to pull something incredible out.
Yeah, big focus. 3 players looking over towards mid, but they can quickly pivot and turn their sights over towards B. Smoke propped up. Shayna has got to be careful with this one. Attempt to reposition. Cuts up, he can hear that util.
There's the pull, there's the nade.
Forces it out, but the players are already in the sight. Crew, they need this one, they're desperate for it, but listen, they're going straight into the meat grinder that is MIBR!
What a read! Just right from the setup, Artazine knows exactly what's going on. The prep work, the anticipation, Crew just fed themselves in. Like you said, meat grinder. They tried to get through a choke point, and MIBR had every piece of utility ready and waiting for them. Brutal, because now we've actually seen that a few times in this series, where MIBR have had the perfect response. The prep has paid off so well for this squad. And now they're 9-4 up. Crew then deciding not to force. They didn't get enough kills. They didn't get the plan. They don't have the money to go for some kind of force here. They just got to accept the fact that MIBR are likely to get up to double digits.
It's desperation at its core. It's a nade at the feet, and also will have to respect that one, get themselves into the site. Maybe a chance here, but the plan going down.
A push into screens.
Yeah, you got to fight for something.
Spike planted.
Take control of the map in some way or form, at least try and force the issue with your pistols in hands, but this is where the squeeze is occurring. Already fast through ramp, out through main. Trailblazer not being broken in time. Pistols out, weaponry online, not accounting for the corner. Twisting, turning. Melzer and Shai, maybe a chance still. Tucked to the corner once more. This is 3 players left standing here for MIBR. And damage is being done to Shenum. But what can one man do? Kesnit stood alone and cleaned up eventually. 3 left standing for MIBR. It's going to be healthy going into that bonus.
Yeah, they managed to save a judge. Artazine was loving using the judge when the last time MIBR played on Split. Crew are 6 rounds down. Trying to find the answers, running into brick walls. The push over towards screens didn't do too much. MIBR just flipped, took full ramp control. And even though they didn't clear Shai very well, and you could say it got a little dangerous, at the end of the day, they're in full control of all of these angles on the retake. Crew need a miracle. They need a miracle worker. It's been Shai. It's been Melzer on previous days, but he's down at the bottom of the scoreboard today. And it's Kesnit to open things up.
Exactly so. That duelist head-to-head. The answer that they were looking for. It's an opening. And a cut-in noise just to really make sure that you put a bit of despair in the back of the heads of these MIBR players. Wondering where they could be, maybe forcing a reaction out of them. It's a bonus at the end of the day.
Yeah, Adverso was calling these really slow rounds on Bind if you think back to map 1. And there he's rewarded. But is he looking for more information in heaven?
Also might even go for a bit of a peek of his own, but just tucks himself tight. Orb committed, everybody holding onto the smokes as well. 50 seconds, dwindling down into the round, but Crew are in the driving seat.
Really nice.
Snake bite nade. Nade actually missed there, but he's already revealed his hand just by a bit of a spamming through the main choke point, so...
Very patient.
Yeah.
Waiting out the full duration of that smoke from Shenum. And he didn't have another one to be able to throw down for Nozwa. It's nice to see Crew being calm and patient despite the fact that it is getting a bit desperate for them in this match. They're not rushing things. You just got to take it 1 round at a time when you're in a hole like this.
Artazine will hope that he can play for a couple of exits.
Yeah, and more so than that, he actually wants to try to get his Raze ult online.
He's 3 away.
So it's worth throwing yourself in here. You don't want to die to the spike. Then again, he might want to save the judge. Like I say, he was doing a lot of playing around with the judge in a previous game.
He's not going to get a chance to. John? Well, no.
Is he dying to the spike? Okay. Fair enough then. Doesn't manage to get another charge on that ult. And he also doesn't get to keep the judge in. But he's going to upgrade to a Phantom here. The Aspas operator. We've seen him do mystical things with this along that A line. And he's now got that fantasy team up with Nozwa, a player he wanted to play with last year.
Yeah, he did.
And now they're finally on a team together, and they're the little duo that's going to be looking to try to lock down that A main.
This team does have that Aspas influence. Dare I say, hand-picked almost in terms of players that he would like to play with. Look at what he's been able to do with them. Brought MIBR back up to that relevancy.
This is a nice position from Melzer. You get an angle into vents above the Viper Orb. Tough for Cortezia to play around.
Aspas. There's no dash active. Seems to be aware of the potential of that angle. Still, smoke popped up, and now he takes his chance! My God! Still Adverso. He's slipped himself through that slightest of gaps, but he is responded with and brought down to his knees. So, evened up 4-4. Addison could have been caught unaware there. Still, the snake bite layer down. That's a spike hard committed. Mazzino has left it into the open arms of the enemy. And now Shorty, do you dare cross past that smoke? They don't quite have it.
They don't have the spike.
They don't have it. Cortezia doesn't want to really go even for that reload. Backs himself away. Paranoia sweeping through. It's a double hold though.
30 seconds left.
Oh, Melzer.
He's trying to fake it, but they're going to know 100% that this is headed B.
And the players primed and ready. Addison though, losing that fight out still from the back. Shenham, the Guardian in hand. Bring around the Rosies, but only 11 seconds to play with. And Melzer, yeah, not long for the world there. It's 11 rounds now for MIBR.
They take another important step forwards. Only 2 away from securing their position to be able to take on Sentinels in that lower bracket final. A timeout called. Atom hits the panic button. What a flick that was. That's devious.
Yeah, okay.
These are the spots, though, in like 2v3 scenarios where KRU were coming up with magic in the previous games. You know, Shai would hit something ridiculous, and then Melzer would be playing a clutch masterfully. Melzer hasn't come online today. He's 4-13. We're not seeing those moments from him, but I don't want to put the focus on just him. The rest of KRU haven't really come alive today in the same way that we were seeing them last week.
Haven't seen it.
Maybe a bit of that heat just being... The passion maybe flaring a bit too high last week and taking a bit of a dip this week.
Listen, the win against T2G.
T2?
I was about to say 2 glue. At one against 2G, they got the confidence and the passion back. And it really did set KRU up on a run. You know, that heat was behind them, and they were just dismissing opponents that they were going up against with cool ideas as well, but clutch potential. And the players were hitting on an individual basis. But so far, MIBR have not let really any weaknesses show. There's been nothing to grasp on. Occasionally, Shai's been able to clutch up a round or two from a couple of misplays, and it hasn't been the cleanest gameplay in the world. But this is domination. This is MIBR 11-5, and as you said, 2 rounds away from making it to that lower bracket finals.
They're going to try to take some A control, and this is where Aspas is at home with the operator. You expect him to be on an aggressive line, but he's actually taking a bit more of a passive approach. Waiting out this utility, hoping that Nozwa could spam that dog down, actually.
And he didn't, so he has to hide himself away. TP's up.
Does he go for the re-peek with the
Oh,
dash?
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a second, the peek. I'm not sure if anybody spotted him. Was that trigger discipline? Do they know he's on this line? Still, they wade right into him.
Doesn't even use the dash.
No. Doesn't go for the re-peek. Doesn't want to be too predictable here. Nades are going to be ricocheting, rebounding, clearing out the vents area. And what is a call to be made by KRU? Already a player down. Time is of the essence. No slowing this one. No control over towards ramp. They realize the importance of it. Shai's going to be backing away, trying to hold on to main control. Plant down, but it's not really for heaven. The Paranoia sweeping through, but it's open access. No one was playing there. The attempt of a pick by KRU doesn't get anything.
No, KRU pressured over towards screens. Last time MIBR went for a retake, they dominated ramp. This time, doesn't look like that. It looks like they're going to flood through heaven.
It's here. It's all about the rifles in hand. Aspas rapid to respond, and like a rocket, Adezine's in. Still, as he overstepped himself, backing and through, weaving in and out as a Cosmic Divine to deal with, and still KRU. Calm and collected.
A 4v5 post, and they only lose a single player. MIBR actually not very well coordinated there with Ardazine's double blast pack play. And maybe that would have been the kind of time to go back to that previous retake protocol. Go and retake some ramp control. Go and try to deal with Shai early on. They just thought they could send it. KRU have been offered an opening. They've got the rifles. They're starting to build up to the ults. Is there a way back into this?
It's getting built up steadily, bit by bit. Any chance to pave your way to victory here? Obviously, it's going to start back there, and the orbs farmed up. MIBR are going to be taking risks with it. They're close to ults of their own, and they realize, listen, there is a timer ticking in terms of a macro sense. MIBR can just try and play to build up the ults, build up the economy, and take it. They only need 2 rounds.
Yeah, I think next round is going to be massively important. You see, Showstopper, Ardazine's probably going to have his. Aspas can play around his Bladestorm if you like, and we've seen what he's capable of. KRU need this one, but they also kind of need to take it without using the Showstopper.
There's no effect. That's going to reveal Ardaziene. You're going to be postured and pushed away from this position. TP's up into the side as well. Flashes dodged and juked, but it's chaos zone, isn't it? Look at that. It's a double TP play, so just a barrel poking out. Ardaziene, where do you take this peak? Running and gunning to just beam them down. Mazzino has barreled them over.
And that's exactly what KRU were after. They made a lot of pressure there for Adverso to lurk his way up through B heaven, and then Mazzino barrels his way through. They didn't have to use the Showstopper, still have that available for the next round. And the next round is where it becomes real. If there's going to be a comeback, Kesnit, Mazzino need to be getting big value from their ults. 7-11. Not too much of a gap, especially if KRU can keep applying pressure to MIBR's economy.
Certainly. As we've already mentioned, I mean, there's big ults earned up on either side. This is the upcoming round, really. The big moment, the turning point.
MIBR have got such inexperienced players on their team. They're great, don't get me wrong. I think Aspas and the other former Loud players who did a bunch of scouting to build this MIBR roster, along with Fraud and the people behind the scenes, they found 2 great talents in Shenom and Cortesia. But they're also fairly inexperienced compared to KRU, who've been on runs like this so often.
Yeah, there's moments like this where those weaknesses, the inexperience, it gets pried open.
They certainly can.
Still we'll see it. Aspas with the op. The war chest is filled to the brim for KRU. So damn important with the money. Chance for KRU to keep that momentum up and make that comeback a reality.
Cortesia loves to play on these kind of aggressive angles, but it's so risky when Kesnit can just be on top of you with a Showstopper at basically any moment. He backs it up a little bit here.
Wanting to be. They choose to do into that. There's the danger. Deep Trailblazer clears the way. They've got to have an inclination, MIBR that is, that this is going to be leaning over towards B now. With the Seekers up through mid. Seeing which way they end up drifting. Majority of them over towards B, but there's no cancel call. All eyes up towards heaven. There is danger here. Barely. Still, ults offloaded, but no chance to pull the trigger. Cancel to the TP, and do you cancel the call? Not quite when Mazzino's hitting like this. Knives in through the back of the side. Shai takes up the position. It's a rapid approach. Scales decently into the back, and with the pit laid down, what chances do they have, MIBR? Ult into the back pocket. Potentially a window, and the Showstopper is going to be called to be used. Ricocheting, and rifle play is working miracles. Melter repositions and fakes it out. Does Ardaziene believe it? No chance to. It's a Red Bull clutch. And we needed to see that step up from Melter. He was drifting towards the bottom of the scoreboard, and he still is, don't get me wrong. But moments like that is what the team needed.
A beautiful Red Bull clutch from Melzer, like he said. That's what he was pulling out in previous matches. The pressure ended up being too much from Aspas. And I want to praise the macro calling as well here. a really nice idea from KRU. They've now run this same strategy twice, where you push 4 players super heavy through B main, and you have 1 lurker that comes in through B heaven. This time, instead of it being Adverso, it was Mazzino, but he got past Aspas' sightline, ducked in. They even smoked him off, and he walks through KRU's own smoke. Right now, Fraud in the tactical timeout needs to identify that problem. KRU have fully got the read that if you pressure mid early on and then go over towards B, MIBR give up mid utterly, and you can just walk in there with a player on a fast lurk timing. The comeback is truly on here. 3 rounds in a row for KRU, no answer from MIBR, economy broken, KRU likely to get the gap down to only 2. Something that we were talking about on Abyss but never materialized. No. And yet, here it is in KRU's potential 11th hour.
All the right motions being made. Just can't let it slip. It's still a bit of an uphill climb for KRU. Not out of the weeds just yet.
No, MIBR is still going to have a couple other big opportunities with rifles before KRU get it even. But the comeback is certainly on.
Slow and steady gameplay here by KRU. They don't want to overstep themselves. You never know what MIBR or any team is going to be up to when they're on the weaker buy. Flash gets some level of clearance, a bit of peace of mind. And Aspas is the one who's holding down a majority of this site with a stinger in hand.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to their pistol round setup. Expecting, hoping that KRU were going to do the same kind of idea with that mid and B pressure. Aspas needs help.
Yeah, he needs help and he needs it now. Still with that stinger dash. You don't want to body block that guy still. Gets him out, gets the heal. Try and play this one for the retake.
They lost a 5v4 retake before, but a crucial difference here could be Cortazina on the flank. Shai getting pushed back into him by the dog.
Wait a minute. That could be the difference maker. Domino the topples potentially to end this already. Ram control, main control is theirs. The net tightening here, MIBR. KRU, they're trying to see if they can do a little bit more damage to it. Kesnet's left alone in almost an impossibility. He's being swarmed. They're chomping at his heels. Adesina with the defuse, sticking this away. Has to go for the full reload here. And Aspas crouched down, primed and ready. It's always the rounds, like the thrifties themselves, man, you've got to be careful of.
What a disaster for KRU. Talking about the comeback being on an MIBR lander, potential death blow with the thrifty. What a play though to punish Shai. Lovely timing to go for that kind of flank, but Cortazina wouldn't have been able to go for anything there on his own. He needed that help and the distraction from the rest of the team. Shai got squeezed. And Kesnet's both hands off the keyboard on his forehead. 4 rounds in a row required for KRU, otherwise MIBR have a date with Destiny and Sentinels in that lower bracket final.
And the Kingmaker himself, as we were watching, as he's been labeled, any teams that he touches just turning to gold, and he might just be spelling out the death blow. Respects the Trailblazer. Breaks it away, denies a bit of that information. Updraft dash was going to be heard by KRU here. And they're poking and prodding, praying they can catch that reposition that Cortazina might be going for.
Aspas is looking for a bit of a re-explore towards B main. And like you said, the attention on the defensive Viper, he's just tucked himself into a corner.
And still, ADS stuck. There is that return of the fire and a trade in sight. So Kesnet maybe making it more of a possibility, but what is that? Kesnet, head clean off. Not an easy shot, not in the slightest, but can you be surprised at this point? Repositioned away, but no coverage up to heaven. Aspas has been dealt with. But now Shanum cannot get it done towards the back. This is KRU answering back, but straight back down into the fight. Adesina repositions in a way, he's brought it to that 1v2 and a clutch is necessary, but not happening.
Oh, KRU playing a little chaotic here, but managed to get the work done. Aspas brought out a bit of magic, and they still managed to run him down. It's confidence, aggression, the standard KRU playbook. ends up being really important for them. And Shai is so sharp with that one as well. He's tasked with getting the spike down and still manages to get off it to counter that B anchor. MIBR have actually got a big choice here. Do we invest? And they've decided no, except for the Aspas op. So it's a half-buy round, but with your star player still buying the defense operator. And they pit off the rip.
Yeah, it's a pit down and mid.
It's a bit confused, but it could get the job done anyway.
Limits the options for KRU to go for, but easy access to the orb as a showstopper earned. Lying in wait as Aspas. He's hoping for a bit of pressure, but it looks like that is not on the minds of these KRU players.
No. Because Aspas holds B, and because Cortesia holds mid, they can have a 3-player stack on A.
It's all about if Addison can survive in this spot right here. The flash does not connect. What timing does he choose to take? That's a showstopper. Ricochet, no damage to be done, but he's revealed the spot. And with that position, Addison no longer up through heaven. An attempt by Nozwa, dismissed almost single-handedly. Shanum, he's back into the fight here with a classic in hand. It's not enough.
KRU should have a really solid position to play this from now. Looking to make the score 10-12. Aspas, you got to imagine, is going to be saving the operator here, playing the most passive of angles. Dropped 25, by the way. What was he at? 29 on Abyss, I think? Didn't quite get the 30.
Man. Light work.
Washed, in my opinion. Didn't get the 30 on Abyss.
Okay.
No, I mean, he's just been incredible for MIBR. But he's got to save this operator. And KRU are getting closer. It looked like a disaster, the Thrifty round that got MIBR up to match point. But here's another one of these chances that they haven't grasped.
No. This operator. Aspas can be mobile with it. Taking peeks intelligently, but just hoping it doesn't develop into a pair of shackles for him, because KRU just narrowly avoiding him. So taken over.
KRU know that the op was towards B that round, because otherwise they would have walked into it at some point over here on A. So a bit of a mind game set up now. Does Aspas take it towards that aggressive angle in A main? Does he play the heaven spot that he's been wanting to go for this game? I know that he and Fraud do a lot of specific operator on defense anti. Like, they try to find spots against certain teams that work, which is why Aspas is playing this heaven spot so much, I've got to imagine.
Ardezine's up front. Tanking a flash, but I think it's just that second layer thing, so we can break the Trailblazer if it wasn't broken through main, which it was.
So Aspas has been given a lot of support to keep his op online here. And you're trying to go into both of the star split players for MIBR. Aspas and Ardezine.
Snakebite at your feet, you're vulnerable up, Ardezine. Time to take the reposition. Up and around here, Aspas. Feeling that heat now emanating out. Pop the dash nice and early here, close to the corner, gotta get up. Nozwa has to do a lot, but he just cannot get it done.
I know exactly.
Heaven control still gonna be maintained, but KRU, access to this site.
And there's the death ball kind of stuff that KRU are known for, that Valen was saying they're so good at.
Pack mentality. Shai is in a 4 position. The rest of his team, though, just isolated up onto the site. It does make it a little bit harder to hold on to these angles. Up and above, holding the line, Kesnet. He's already answered with that kill, and again, any options are just limited at this point when you just have a 2v4 operator in your hands. Like I said, there's a chance of it just becoming the shackles that are just dragging MIBR down.
This has got so serious of a chance of going to overtime. They're going to be hunting for these guns, hunting for the operator.
Every bounce is a smoke. It's good defensive util just so they can ensure that they keep these guns intact. You want to save the op.
But even with the op and the Vandal being saved, the money is still not in a good spot. KRU only need one more round to take us to OT in a decider map to get to the lower bracket finals at Kickoff, to fight for that final spot at Masters Bangkok, for the right to challenge Sentinels. G2 are already there. We've already seen one team book their ticket today. KRU and MIBR, only one can survive. An attack timeout for the final round of regulation.
Yeah.
MIBR have had a bunch of chances here. They had 4 match points. and they've already squandered 3 of them. And I really think you're right, Bren, that the operator is becoming a bit of a problem for Aspas, because KRU are being able to use enough util at the beginning of these rounds on A that they get into A post plants, and then what's he doing?
Yeah, trying to play retake with it.
I think one of the silver linings, though, you could actually run the same setup again, but Aspas now has Bladestorm. So he can pop that,
yeah,
and he can be useful on the retake instead of just holding angles for his team. The tide has shifted here. It might feel like the momentum is all behind KRU, but from an ultimate standpoint, MIBR have the Bladestorm, which is going to help them retake with the op so much.
Look at this.
And Artazine has the showstopper.
It's a showstopper Cosmic Divide as well. Like, listen, the chances are here for MIBR to stop it early. KRU, one more step is all they need to take to drag it to OT. There's tension in the air. You could see it on the players' faces, even during that timeout. Smiles, at this point, dissipated, because they know it's do or die. The operator has switched over into the hands of Artazine. Aspas with the knives to play with and a stinger on top of it. It's a different look by KRU.
Yeah. Going for that A-ramp pressure early on, and then spreading out around the rest of the map. In fact, grouping up, looking like they want to go for a 1-minute pop into B. You see the pings on top of Shinom's face. There's going to be a lot of attention there, and Aspas has got to support by flooding out with the knives.
I've got your trail.
Well, here it is, Seekers. Gonna layer it all the way down here. We'll see what Aspas can do. Trailblazer needs to be broken. But a nice back out into his hand, seeing what he can do with it. A bit of a pause being caught here by KRU. They've steadied it, they've slowed it down. The rotations are core, they've got a lot of bodies. MIBR close to the point of contact. Aspas dropping down, a footsteps might have been heard, and the flash does connect. Updraft and away. This is it. Time to make your moves and time to see if you can carve out a piece of the map. KRU, an attempt to be made here, but a stinger, the bullets rattling around, down to the bottom of the clip, yet Aspas still claims 2. And it's a 2v2 at that. A safe prime position, cut into the corner, showstopper! Narrowly avoided! It's double digits. Adverso is barely clinging on, the nade rebounding.
There.
But a bit of calm inserted.
And this is actually quite a tough retake.
Careful here.
If Adverso had fallen, MIBR would be sitting pretty, but now they've got to break a crossfire.
Who lies on this? Closure of the series, or OT on the line. Melza tucked up the crossfire setup, and damage done to him. Variety of them taking a peek at us. And Noswa with the 1-2 punch. MIBR dash away those hopes and dreams. There can only be one, taking it through the lower bracket run. And for MIBR, it's all smiles today. They get their chance to book that ticket to Bangkok.
They have a meeting in the lower bracket final to fight for a spot at Masters. And we have never really been talking about that with this organization. Revitalized with the addition of Aspas, a player that originally was not even looking to be in Americas this year. And MIBR changed their game plan, changed their off-season roster construction completely to accommodate this star. Kingmaker, King Midas, Golden Touch, he's got it all. Helped with the construction of the roster, and now not just going for top 4, but top 3, maybe top 2.
Yeah.
At least at the start of the year here. And putting a stop to KRU's momentum, they looked like a juggernaut in the lower bracket. And yet, with great preparation, Abyss and Split went the way of MIBR. What a performance today. And closing things out before they got hectic in OT.
Yeah. Takes a lot of presence of mind to be able to do that. To close it out when that momentum just felt like it was on the side of KRU towards the tail end. Individuals had to step up. We saw plenty of heroic moments.
But more on the side of MIBR today, and more, to be honest, with Aspas.
Yeah.
He had to have a superstar performance today to outperform what we were seeing from KRU in the last week. And he absolutely did. He dominated.
Yeah, I mean,
match 2 and 3.
They speak for themselves, really,
Look
genuinely.
at rounds like this.
just taking over. It's cerebral the way he takes it, isolating those ones and those fights in itself.
And with the stinger in the final round,
Somehow getting 2.
how did he get 2?
Don't know.
He was under so much pressure and looked like all he was going to be able to do was tickle some players for a tiny bit of damage.
Yeah.
There's those final 2 kills with the stinger, setting up his team to win a 2v2 retake. Absurd. Genuinely
really
absurd stuff. MIBR are a team to watch, and we haven't said that
ever before, yeah. And unfortunately, with that being said as well, I mean, we are going to have to say goodbye to KRU. And these guys, throughout the kickoff, honestly, they've almost been the killers of Brazil. They've almost been there. The only team that they potentially would have missed, I mean, they did miss, was Furia. And they had their chance at MIBR, but MIBR, they stood strong.
KRU, though, I think have showcased that they have the potential to take down any team, right? I mean, maybe G2 we have to leave out of the conversation, possibly, but KRU have got that explosive nature, that upset potential when their players are firing and when the passion's behind them, when they have their ideas. But they couldn't quite convert it into a full bracket run this time, like they have done in the past to make it into champs now in 2 of the years.
I mean, absolutely as well. And there's still chances, as we said. I mean, listen, today is all about MIBR. They've earned that spot, that chance to fight genuinely, because it's not quite the spot to Bangkok yet, but it's one step closer. And it's the one that matters, of course, as well, which is going to be that game. And I believe we're ready for the interview. I'm not too sure. Yeah, we are ready. Okay, let's send it down to Riv, who's on the stage for that Verizon post-match interview.
Thank you, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. I am joined by Cortesia as MIBR take down KRU to punch their ticket just one step further in this lower bracket run. I just overall, I want to get your thoughts on that series. It was incredible. Were you thinking it was going to go 3? The first map was so much in your favor.
Vamos começar com o geral, né? Você achou que ia ser 3 mapas? Dá sua opinião geral sobre o jogo hoje.
Então, sinceramente, eu achei que seria um 2-0 pra gente. Os moleques jogam muito do outro time também, foi um jogo muito bom. Acredito que a gente poderia ter jogado a Bayern de uma forma melhor, a gente começou emplacando bastante o nosso jogo. Acho que surpreendeu um pouco eles também, o Yoru. Mas, infelizmente, a gente acabou se perdendo no meio do mapa e acabamos tendo que ir pra uma série de 3 mapas, mas ganhamos, é o que importa.
To be honest, I thought we would go for a 2-0.
Okay.
We started very strong, but at some point we got lost there. I think our comp was a surprise for them. They were not expecting Euro. But, you know, we came back from it and we ended up doing 3 maps.
And what is it, you guys coming back, what is it like with Aspas in the server, going crazy? You're trying to rotate to a site, this guy's already killing everybody. What is it like having that in game?
Como é que é ter o Aspas numa noite de Aspas, assim, no time? Você tá indo para um lado, ele já tá lá matando todo mundo. Como é que é isso?
I don't have so much to say. I just want to say we definitely have Aspas.
I love it. I love it. Amazing answer. You said there were a few things you guys had to get over. For MIBR, what's going wrong, but also what's going right, if you can touch on that.
Você comentou, né, que tinha algumas coisas para melhorar. O que tá bem, o que tá indo bem, o que não tá, o que ainda precisa melhorar?
Então, o nosso clima é muito bom, sempre foi. Infelizmente, tanto que foi um dos motivos da derrota para o 100 Thieves, a gente não teve muito tempo de treino. Então, cada semana que passa, cada dia que passa, nós conseguimos treinar. Agora não temos mais treino, mas agora é embalar, pegar a Sentinels agora e depois pegar a G2. E, cara, acho que a gente ainda comete alguns erros dentro do server, mas isso é do jogo. Os moleques do outro time também jogam bem, então sabem punir. E a gente só vai rever os erros e vir mais forte para amanhã.
I think like the environment's really good among us. We didn't have a lot of time in the beginning to practice together, but now we have more time. We're practicing. We won't have practice tomorrow anymore, but of course we're looking forward to going against Sentinels and then G2.
All right, a few more questions for you. Your first BO5 on the VCT Americas stage is coming up. Is this your first BO5 ever? And how are you feeling? Are you ready? You prepared?
O melhor de 5 vindo aí para você, é o seu primeiro da vida, assim? Você já passou por isso? O que você tá sentindo?
Yeah, I played BO5 before in my life. Like the last year in Red Canids, I played the final of the Tier 2 Brazilian. So yeah, it was hard, and I think it's gonna be more hard because we're gonna play like 2 BO5s in 3 days. Like one BO3 and two BO5s, yeah, day by day, and so it's gonna be hard, but I trust in my team, I trust in God, and let's go.
I got one more quick question for you. This could be, if you take down Sen, going to your first international. What's that mean to you?
No, so it's gonna be everything. Like, I pray every day for this. I think now I have a good team to like go and maybe meet some new country. So I'm excited, and I hope this happens. I don't know.
Amazing. Let's hear it one more time for Cortezia, MIBR, moving on to take on Sen. Thank you so much for the interview, my man. We are not done yet for the day. We do have some people over there. GB, who you got?
Plot twist, Riv, we kick GB off for a moment because I'm here with Fraud and Artzine, and we're going to do a deep dive in today's matchup, specifically this comp you two are playing on Split. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
You won an insanely close game. And I want to come first to you, Fraud, and sort of talk about this comp, because playing the double dive, the raise, and the jet is something that teams played a lot in the past, but maybe not so much now. What's the decision to go to this comp in today?
I think the stage of Valorant right now, the meta is pretty balanced out. All the agents, there's really no like overpowered agents. So I think this is just us trying to play towards our identity and the personalities that we have on the team. We have very skilled players, and we also have Art, who is he's a flex, he's a duelist, he's a sentinel. So I think for us, it's all about finding something that works for our team, creating some different kind of play style, and even though it might be the same comp as before, we're trying to bring some new stuff that maybe wasn't brought out a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think it certainly helps when you've got Art popping off on the Raze and Aspas on the Jet. I do want to talk about how you sort of attack the A site, though, because this is a pretty common play, similar to what we've seen some other teams run. But the basic idea is you on the Raze, you're satcheling up into ramp with a Sky Flash, and then Aspas can jump up onto this box and then glide dash into the site. So I want to come to you for your opinion here and sort of ask what you're looking for in a hit and what your role is for the team as we watch this play through.
This play, we basically just threw me to the death to call attention for everyone, and we just take free sight. For example, they know I'm ramp right now, so I'm room botting the vents, and Aspas could kill the guy because I'm making so much noise here, and they're not aware of the smoke after the Aspas dash, you know? So it's kind of it.
Right, yeah, because I think it's sort of hard to see. You're saying you're sending like the boom bot like off this wall into vents?
Yeah.
To that player, and that's what you're swinging off of?
Yeah, it kind of appears like a little default at the beginning, and then it ends up being like a double dive on B-Heaven.
Right.
Heaven, sorry.
Because the Jet is pretty quiet. You could hear the updraft, but when she's actually gliding, you don't really hear that until she's dashed, and then she's already kind of where Aspas is right now, right?
Yeah.
And then
you could also do it with both. You could even swap agents too and have Jet go ramp, have Raze go double satchel like he did one round as well.
Right, so you have a lot of different ways to sort of mix it up. But at the end of the day too, this Viper wall is pretty interesting because what it does is it sort of isolates Aspas on this side of the wall and then you're fighting on the other. So as soon as you go down here, is the call to come and bring down this Viper wall so Aspas can sort of turn and pinch in on that one player?
We only use our Viper wall to cover me as I go ramps, and after that we put it down so we can like fight together, me and Aspas. But the thing is, they had the Viper wall, so I couldn't fight with him that much. I died to the Viper ropes, but it's a good dive. It's a good tactic, you know. And the comp we're playing, we need to play like that.
Yeah, because their Viper is also trying to block off space. Now, once you get into this position, the round gets a little bit crazy. It's a 3-on-2 here. But since you're dead, as IGLing, do you think it's a little bit easier to call like the macro game? Because I imagine when you're diving into site, when you're taking a lot of fights, that can be a little harder.
Yeah, it's much easier than me being alive because I already have all the info we got. I already have what skills I see. So yeah, it's kind of much more easier. But at the same time, our team is so proactive.
that sometimes I just need to show them the info I got, and they do the rest, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that can certainly help. And I just want to watch the minimap during this play because the Omen's going to send a Paranoia out. And then you also have a Seekers, I think, that goes and sees the Cypher. At this point, it's 3-on-2, so you're rotating over to the B site. Now, Fraud, I want you to sort of watch this round out and maybe micromanage. Obviously, a big concern when you're a coach, you see a numbers advantage come up, make sure we don't throw the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So how would you personally like to see this micro go down and like sort of rate your team as they play this post plan?
I mean, I think right off the start, when we hear that Cypher, he's about to ult, get that info, we know that their retake's going to be a little bit slower and longer. So at this point, we can kind of be in some, you know, really weird positions to kind of throw that Cypher ult a little bit back and then kind of go back to our standard type of crossfires, pillars, heaven setup. So I think it was really well played by us there, especially the guy who's trying to throw off the Cypher ult and, you know, just trying to trade off of each other. Shinom was in a really good position, so we're just basically trying to distract for him and allow for our player in an advanced position to get that free one and turn it to a 3-on-1 at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up working really nicely. And Art, I'm curious if something you're thinking about in a post plant here, right? Because the spike is planted, your team could easily fall to main. Are you thinking about like options like, oh, could Cypher cage or could Omen smoke to make it harder to spam? Is that a choice to stay and play on site?
Yeah, kind of, but when we have numbers, when we have advantage, we just need a crossfire and we need to be simple. We need to do that much stuff. We just need to be simple, you know. We got someone playing off Chinam, for example, and here we had they're both info. We know they were 2B heaven, so guys, just crossfire. That's it.
Yeah, and it ends up working out very nice. So we can watch that play out one more time. I think Aspas almost had like 30 kills in this game at the end, but he finds some at the end as well. Thanks again for walking us through this round, for breaking it all down. I'm going to send you over to Golden Boy because he's got some more fun questions for all of you, and congrats again.
Follow the car. What's
guy.
the worst that could happen? Surely it won't run into anything. You know, look at you go. Oh, Tactibear, you, Wily Minx, you. All right, welcome back, guys. Welcome to the match point, everyone. Here, of course, joined by Fraud and Arts, and thank you for doing that. We always love having an opportunity to be able to not just pick the players' brains, but also to be able to pick your brain as well, because you're there aging excessively as it's all happening at that time. Let's talk about this kickoff, though, and the way things have gone and how this has been. Didn't start off the way that you guys wanted it. What was that conversation like with the boys to get them back in focus?
I mean, that 100 Thieves game was really tough. We think that they're a fantastic team, so we knew it was going to be a very tough one. I think we just started a little slow. I think that's kind of our problem right now. We keep dropping that first map, and I think for us, we just have to focus as much as we can to come into the game as strong as possible. And you know, I think as we haven't been, we were one of the last teams to finalize our roster, so. We're only going to get stronger as we can continue practicing and taking these experiences, and thankfully we're making a really solid run in this lower bracket to continue to get these guys that experience, especially our rookies, Shinom and Cortesia, that they're really shining right now. And I think that once they continue to get that confidence, you know, it's going to be tough for teams to play.
For sure. I mean, we're kind of seeing it with Cortesia right now. I mean, you know, guys out there answering interviews like a pro, right? Like he's been here the whole time.
He's at home.
Yeah, he's at home. You love to see that. But there were some changes that you guys made coming to this. We talked about it before. You going in, Artson, into the IGL role was a pretty interesting one, especially considering, you know, you play Raze on some of these maps and you're the tip of the spear for the team typically. Were you worried? Were you excited for the opportunity to take on the IGL? What was that experience like, that conversation like?
Yeah, for me, it was a kind of surprise because Fred just came to me and said, hey, you're going to be the IGL. I mean...
was there a reason why you went to him specifically?
Yeah, it's because like me and Fred, we worked together for a long time, so I already know how he thinks the game, and I got taught by him. So yeah, it's more easier to me to understand what is he saying, what he wants to do. Yeah,
very well.
So that's one of the... I think the principal answer for that, you know?
Yeah, the reason why is because you guys have just such good chemistry. Is that how you felt as well?
Yeah, I mean, last year with our team, we were struggling so much and we were lacking so much of the fundamentals that we just basically broke that down. And then towards the end of the year, Art got to see a little bit more of that wacky side of me with the comms, the strategies, things like that. And He's one of the smartest players I've ever been around and being able to teach. So it was very easy for him to understand. And, you know, it was a tough decision in the sense because it's not something that you probably should do between the middle of the tournament.
Yeah.
But I felt like this was absolutely necessary. And also because we have someone like Art with the talent, as well as the intelligence to kind of lead our team. And the other advantage that he gives me so much is that since we're on the same page, there's a lot of times that he calls off a pause or says, I have a good idea, this and that. And that allows me for moments like this when the match gets a little bit tighter that I have 2 pauses still in the pocket. So I think that kind of dynamic is really helping us a lot. And, you know, that camaraderie that we have, which is something that we lack as a team since we're a new team, but me and him have that. And, you know, I think that it's
But you
going very
definitely
well.
get the vibe. You see the chemistry. I don't know. I'm seeing it. When you guys walk out, y'all look cool. You look like chill. You're having a good time with one another. And that goes a really long way, right? It takes you quite far. I mean, look where you are right now.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Now, last question before we move on, just because I'm curious. And we've been talking about this a lot. And we even had a whole segment dedicated to how MIBR and teams like MIBR are approaching the meta right now. You guys, and you talked about it briefly with Ender, how you feel like every agent right now in this game is viable. But it's interesting because it feels like across every region, everyone's like, Tejo, 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 but yet you guys aren't really buying into the hype. Why is that?
For starters, we're worried about our team. We're not worried about other teams. We're trying to make our own stuff. And to be honest, I think the game has never been in a better position where I'm sure this is what Riot wants, which is for a game to be very balanced, no broken agents.
Yeah.
So right now, I think that, you know, maybe some teams are falling into the trap of playing the new, when in reality it should be what you're comfortable and what you can bring out at a high level.
Yeah.
You know, so while everyone's trying to change compositions, trying to bring some new stuff to the table, sometimes it's better to sharpen the kit that you have. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So for us, and also, you know, I'm not saying that we won't do that in the future, and I love creating different compositions, but a big part of what I've done with creating different comps and different metas has been taking into account the personalities and play styles of my players. And I think that this style that we're running now, whether it was a comp from 2022 or whatever, it's something that suits our play style and how we can go. And we have players that play every agent, all of those agents at a very high level. So there's no need for us to force something when reality is that if we just play what we're doing the right way, it's not going to make much of a difference.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Play your game, you know? Play what makes you feel good. So far, it's worked out quite well for y'all. Got a top 3. Speaking of, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket and where we are right now. Because tomorrow we have our first best of 5 lower bracket final. And it's crazy for, you know, the MIBR organization. I mean, Fraud, you were brought onto this team to do this exact thing, to bring this team to greatness, just as you were doing coaching this squad. I know the boys are a big part of it, but this has to feel like an awesome achievement for you when you came in from Loud, going into MIBR and having to start anew. How does it feel, man?
It feels really good. I think we just needed a hard reset as an org, and I think that this was something that really helped out in, you know, getting Aspas is
and
makes life easier. You know?
I was gonna say real fast, is it nice playing with Aspas?
Yeah, I mean, you can see after today, right?
My guy was robbed of his 30 bombs, okay? Robbed of it. Maybe he'll get it tomorrow.
Sometimes this happens,
Yeah, tomorrow. You know, there's another day to play.
It's not a big deal for him.
That's incredible, man. That dude is an absolute beast. Well, guys, I want to thank you all so much for taking the time to chat with us, to do the break it down as well with Ender. That was awesome, and best of luck tomorrow. You know, looking forward to seeing the match, and if it's anything like today, I mean, good God, this is going to be exciting. That's going to do it for us here today, folks. That is our show. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you right here tomorrow. But for now, enjoy your Samsung SSD fast replay. See you soon, guys. Take care. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no, of course, of course.
We'll have one of those guaranteed spots at Masters Bangkok. And of course, it's 2 of our biggest rivals. These guys are going to throw down. Here comes Jorg. He's on the side, and Narrate gets absolutely flattened. Oh, and Jorg picks up Bang. Jorg coming from behind. Zelsis isn't ready for it. The button to Jorg, and now he drops. Won't be enough to shake the Yoru. Jorg at 4, and G2 cannot be stopped. Hey, Jorg, that's a little bit audacious, I'll be honest with you. Here come the Sentinels now. A little bit lax on this round, perhaps. The protocol's not quite airtight. In a flawless round, the Sentinels caught out by the Null Command and suppressed, but taking us down. And it's on Zelsis, up to Human, a 1 versus 3 to salvage the game for Sentinels. Professor P puts the period on the sentence, and G2 will claim Abyss. C's committed to that as well. Jorg's on the corner, Jorg's on the corner. Oh, it's carnage! 4-4. the Jorg set up on the swing. Right, has the wrap. He has a golden opportunity to send this one out to the fences. It's just Valen standing. He'll go through the wall. Absolutely unhinged stuff from G2's IGL and Bang. This is just the right spot. Zelsa's with that recovered outlaw. Trent now realizes he's going to be in a bit of danger if he sticks around. John gets there with the Sheriff second with the wrap. It's not good enough. Trent for 4. Hang on, where did he come from? And G2 is more than just a statement. G2-0. It's a lifestyle, baby.
This team is just simply excellence.
Finally, here it's KRU and MIBR. Elimination again on the line for these teams, and two of these teams as well that have just gone on an absolute surge through that lower bracket. A turn of events. The armchair analyst fuming. It's going to be an ult popped off. Shanum no more for this war, but up and over. Comes around as well. Aspas side the smokes as well. Pop flash through and around. MIBR just dropping the absolute hammer onto that KRU exec. Stagger into the side as well, but it's split them up. And Shai tears them to pieces. 15 HP though. They'll take the round win at the end of the day. One of these sights and defenses. Trying to take this fight straight to the man, and then we're blinded up. Out through the back though, still Melza dropping these players and popping heads. Sick performance by Melza. And with that, KRU find that 13th, and map 1 is theirs. It's raw gunplay, needs to do the job. Quick scope to answer back. Rare whippage, Aspas up and around, and drafted away, and sky high, just slicing and dicing. Insane ace from Aspas. Trying to make their mark known here with Aspas leading that charge. Just popping heads all over the place. Can't imagine he's going to be getting away with too much more. 7 bullets. That is crispy business.
It's a one-man wrecking ball.
Absolutely ridiculous.
A really good map from MIBR there.
Forces it out, but the players are already in the sight. KRU, they need this one. They're desperate for it, but listen, they're going straight into the meat grinder. That is MIBR. What a read. Cancel to the TP and View, cancel the call, not quite what Mazzino's hitting like this. Knives in through the back of the side. Shai and rifle play is working miracles. Melza repositions and fakes it out. Does Odyssey believe it? No chance to. It's a Red Bull clutch. He needs help and he needs it now. Still with that Stinger. Wait a minute. That could be the difference maker. Has to go for the full reload here. And Aspas. MIBR dash away those hopes and dreams. There can only be one taking it through the lower bracket run. And for MIBR, it's all smiles today. They get their chance to book that ticket to Bangkok.